My name is Dr. Elaine Sisson. I'm a Senior Lecturer in Visual Culture here at IADT. I'm the Academic Lead at the Creative Futures Academy, and I'm also working on the Elevate programme as the Design Lead. So I think for me, storytelling has been a huge part of my teaching and research, even if it hasn't been characterised as such, because for most of my teaching I've been working with the area of design for film, design for stage and screen, working with costume students, costume production design, character makeup design. So by training, I'm a cultural historian. A cultural historian is a person who's interested in how people live, what they eat, what they do, what they wear, how they think, etc. So in that sense, that's always been paramount to thinking about teaching students who are involved in world building or involved in any kind of narrative, design for narrative. So it's been incumbent on me to teach those students who are working in areas of film how to critically research ideas, how to be historically authentic, how to be creative with sources, and how to narrativize something in a particular environment. So in 2022, I was awarded an Irish Research Council grant in digital storytelling, and this came out of some of the research that we had done through the Creative Futures Academy, where I was meeting with people who were working in the cultural sector, particularly in museums, who were mid-career. We were interested in professional upskilling, and in talking to them, it became clear that there was an anxiety about new technologies. Many of them didn't understand what they were, they didn't even know what the words meant, they didn't know what VR stood for, etc. So I thought, well, here's an opportunity to run some training for external partners in the area of immersive technologies. It allowed them to come into a rather safe learning space, that they were able to be novices and able to express their ignorance and lack of understanding of the technology. What was important for the people who were involved in that course, who were engaged in that course, was they were able to take their professional learning into a new space, to be really guided quite carefully and with consideration and thoughtfulness into the use of the technology, to experiment with it, to understand what it could do, to be given illustrations and examples of where it was enacted in other places, and then to go away and think about how that could be useful for their own professional context. One of the projects I worked with as students was we worked with the Wikimedia Foundation because we were interested in ideas about digital citizenship and access to knowledge. And I was interested to look at how particular people in history, particularly women in history, designers, were not really represented in kind of forums like Wikipedia. They're very underrepresented. So with the National Gallery and the Wikimedia Foundation, we did this little research project on the theatre designer Anne Yates, who was the daughter of William Butler Yeats. She was a designer for the Abbey and the Gate theatres, and she had very little presence actually on Wikipedia. And so the students worked with the Wikimedia Foundation on how to research this. We went to the National Gallery, we looked at the Anne Yates archive, and then as part of the assessment, they actually uploaded their information to Wikipedia. So if you go onto Wikipedia now and look for Anne Yates, all of that work came out of that module. And that, I suppose, is about telling stories that have been to a certain extent lost. Understanding how people can connect to that and understanding how to communicate history in terms of storytelling through creative practice is a really important part of what I do.